Hello, Dynamic Pride viewers, and welcome to a monthly catch-up with UW Eagle football head coach Matt Janus. Matt, how are you doing this morning?
Daniel, I'm doing good. It feels like it's been a long time, but then it hasn't been a long time. It feels like we really were just kind of sitting here talking about the season. So I'm excited to get back with you and talk Eagle football.
So now that it's the off-season, what do the coaches do as a whole?
Nothing. We just sit. No. So what I have is we as a coaching staff, like I think there's 5 pillars that a successful football program must do every single day. And so the first one is the vision of our football program, right? And what we're striving to do. And in 2025, it's going to be all about winning our 36th conference championship and our 4th national title. And like, that's the goal in order to work on that. So we work on that vision every day, right? And it's a lot of different things that encompasses whether it's fundraising, working with our administration for stuff that we want, facilitate, anything that we can do to upgrade our program in order to achieve those 2 numbers, right? And then I think the second pillar of a strong football program and a successful football program is the culture of the football program, right? And the culture of our program is the experience. Like I want our players to have the college experience, right? I think these college years are so meaningful. I think they're so special. Like I want our guys, and really fun, right? I want our guys to have the college experience. And so we invest a lot into our university, into our school, and most importantly into each other within the football program. So for those guys, it's constantly working on the culture and things that we can do to improve the culture. Like we talked about when we got into that kind of that hard part of our season, and we had some adversity and going back to the culture. So we focused on that. The third pillar of our football program is probably the one that we're doing the most right now, and that's roster building, right? And obviously part of that is recruiting, part of that is the development of that, part of it is identifying what we need, what we want in positions. So we're doing a ton of that right now. The fourth pillar is player relationships, right? And making sure that our coaches and our coaching staff and our players have great relationships and that we're always continuing to build. And obviously that's hard because they're on break right now. So we've done a ton of working with them and trying to work with them visually, getting on Zooms with them. And then the last part of that championship puzzle and then the piece that we're trying to do is coaching development, right? And so we're not the finished product, right? And so our coaches have spent, I know, especially within our defensive staff, have spent a ton of time with the self-scout from this year over the last kind of month here. And then we put together both sides of the ball and special teams of, okay, what do we want to do better? What do we need to improve on? What schemes do we want to fix? What didn't we like? Where didn't we like? And then we're trying to find means. And, you know, we have the AFCA convention coming up. So we got most of our staff heading down to Charlotte for that. And I mean, we got kind of coaches lined up from other staffs, like the whole time we're down there just to kind of pick and get ideas from. And so like, that's kind of that last part is the coaching development as well. And what we can do as coaches to improve ourselves. So those are the 5 pillars that I think are part of a successful football program. And those 5 pillars are stuff that we have to work on every single day as a coaching staff. So like when we jump into the offseason, especially, I mean, that is what we're doing. And that's all we've been doing here for the last month.
So touching a bit more about just the culture of the program, it feels like we kind of talked about that midway through the season, through the rest of the season, with you guys hitting the reset button. What did you learn last season from doing that you'll apply for this season?
So the thing why we're doing this, right, is that you can't just, I think at times I took the culture for granted. I think I said, and our kids do a phenomenal job. And it's not like there was like a negative culture or anything like that. Our kids do a great job of investing into each other. But for me as the head coach, I felt maybe I ghost-read it a little bit as we got into camp, and we didn't spend time. We spent more time, like we talked about, on X's and O's and working with the players, and we kind of forgot to invest into the experience. And so for us, it's finding ways and finding creative ways as we get into this off season here of how we can spend time together, how we can go have the experience, how we can go and do. And so like, you know, we're setting up like our first event when they get back is going to be going to a men's basketball game and kind of sitting in the student section for that. We talked about we're going to do some what do they want to do? NCAA tournaments, dodgeball tournaments, you know, intramural season starting. So they're going to go crazy with intramural basketball. But, and then trying to get into a little bit, maybe we'll go to Mount Lacrosse and do some snowboarding and do some different things like that so that we're investing into each other, but also trying new things around the city of Lacrosse.
So the team's got a pretty solid recruiting class coming in for next year. What can they bring to the team?
Yeah, really, really excited about it. And so, like our recruiting class kind of separates, and how we do recruiting kind of really separates into like 3 different seasons. We have our early, kind of our early commits, right? Guys that have been on top of it, guys that we've identified since last spring that we've had on campus for the spring. We had them on campus over the summer. We had them on campus for game day. Like those guys are really kind of all wrapped up right now, and they're committed to lacrosse. And I'm really, really excited about the offensive line class that's starting to shape up here and what's becoming part of that. We have 2 quarterbacks that we're really, really excited about. Our running back room continues to improve throughout this class. And then as we switch over to the defense side of the ball, we had a really good linebacking class last year that we were excited about from last year's class. So our emphasis was our defensive back class in the class of 2025, and I think we're hitting on that. We're going to continue to finish up here with a few more guys. So we're really excited about our early kind of commits here as we've gone through the recruiting season. And then we hit in the middle here, like in this kind of this last 3 weeks, it's been our transfer class, right? That's like the second part of our recruiting. And obviously, one of the joys of working here is that, and because of the reputation of the city of La Crosse, the reputation of the University of Wisconsin La Crosse, and then also our football program, like we're a high transfer destination. And our team, I think our team's probably about a 5th transfers in terms of, you were to add up and look at our roster. And I love bringing guys into our program that maybe at upper levels, Division 2s, Division 1s. And I know a lot of people in today's world, it's like kind of like taboo to talk about the transfer portal. Everybody gets like all scared and like it's like this big scary thing. But for us, the transfer portal's been great. I mean, we talk about the roster building portion of those pillars, right? And we're able to use the transfer portal to supplement some of our roster, right? And supplement some of the needs with guys who can play right now. And that's kind of the biggest difference. And so I always tell our guys that we use the transfer portal to supplement our roster. We're not trying to sit here and replace you. We're not trying to do that stuff. We're trying to supplement what we need, whether it's adding depth at a certain position, whether it's adding a potential guy that's going to battle for a starting role at a position. Like we're going to use that, and that's why we've had so much success with that transfer portal. So we use that a ton. So that's kind of like where we're at right now. We're kind of finishing up our transfer portal kids. Obviously, as the semesters start elsewhere, like they know we got a few more guys out there that we're looking to kind of add into that. But we brought in 2 really good tight ends that we're excited about in that room, and then we brought in some defensive backs. So we're really kind of excited with the guys that can come in and help out right now. And then we're also kind of starting our final, like our later recruiting of the class of 2025, right? So we have our early guys in the class of 2025, and then we have our later guys, right? Guys that maybe we got on, had a really good senior season and we got on, or maybe just guys we didn't see earlier, we didn't identify earlier, and now they're kind of in the fold of things. So we still are kind of bringing some kids onto campus. We'll do that really here the rest of January, and we'll probably be by that time, by the time early February hits and National Signing Day hits, we'll be pretty much wrapped up with our roster at La Crosse. So in our recruiting at La Crosse, and then in another couple of weeks our guys get back and we'll focus on them.
So the team's got a lot of returners coming back, guys that had a great season like Gabe Lynch.
Yeah.
What can they bring to the team next year to make them better?
I think obviously there's I think it's a hungry group that's coming back. I think it's a group that is going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, a little bit of an edge. I think it's a group that I think feels that they left some stuff out there, a group, and I think as coaches we feel the same thing, right? Like we corrected the errors that we needed to make, and so I think it's a group that's really, really hungry and is going to really attack the offseason here. And I think it starts, you said it, obviously with some of our offensive skill positions, and you start up front and Dane Walter coming back, right? And he's going to kind of be the focal point of our offensive line next year. And then you slip over to the running back position with not just Gabe Lynch and what Gabe was able to do over the last couple seasons here, but the depth that we put behind Gabe with Braden Ott and Najee Mitchell, Owen Lytle, and some of that stuff. I think it's a receiving core that continues to be scary. Obviously, when you lose a player like Jack Studer, that's like oh my gosh. And Jack was a phenomenal player, but Jack Jenke and Keaton Aaron, like those guys are going to kind of step into the spotlight now, and then obviously to go through an off season now and this is the first time since I've been a head coach where the quarterback is defined. and the quarterback has started. We brought in transfers typically at that position. Obviously had a little bit of a 2-platoon system last year, but now we're going into it now with Kyle Haas as our starter. And Kyle, a lot of people don't understand that Kyle took over it in like week 5 as starting quarterback, right? And so he didn't go through camp. He didn't go through the offseason as the starter. And I think with Kyle's leadership ability and what he brings to the table, he's going to do a great job with that. And then we switch over to the defensive side of things. And you talk about it starting up front with Bodie Schoenhofer and Henry Walsh, kind of the key pieces of that defensive line that does graduate. We did graduate quite a few seniors in that group, especially on the interior of our defensive line. But I think Bodie and Henry and Chris Powell, they'll do a phenomenal job kind of taking that group over. And then we step back to our linebacker core, which is, again, probably the position that got hit the hardest with graduation. You lose Ryan Daines, you lose Adam Kwan, you lose Landon Owen, you lose Tanner Newland, you lose Connor Fonerick. Like, you lose 5 guys that were in that, kind of top 8. But I think Aaron Winters and Nick Jornt are going to do a phenomenal job as that group now. Like, they take that group over. It's their group now. And then to add it with I told you earlier, our freshman linebacker group that we have right now is the best that I've had since we've been here with, we talk about Brady Knott, Ben Knott, his brother, but Ben Stigler, Brady Lanier, like there's some guys, Brady Carpenter, like there's some guys in that group that we're really excited, that are huge guys that we're excited now as they take the next step. And then defensive back-wise, Trent, the biggest thing for that group, Trent Mullen is healthy. Trent Mullen's a stud. He's really, really good. But Tate Pitcher's back. Tier Severson's back. But those guys are trying to get healthy. They've gone through some surgeries here. They're going to get themselves healthy this offseason. But, excited for Carver Cram and some of those guys to take the next step here as we get going.
So you talked a little bit about the chip on the shoulder the returners feel like they have. You also mentioned the 36-4 you guys are in pursuit of. How can the guys use kind of the chip on their shoulder as momentum to come out on a run?
Yeah, I think it's a group that learned a lot this year. And that's the key part is we faced some adversity. We had to go through some things. And so that's a group that had to take away, okay, hey, we can't skip out on this culture. Like, this is important. And when we try to do something as a team, like, this is important that we have to invest into and some of these, situational football. Like, so I think it's a group that took away a lot of lessons from this year as they go into the offseason and probably, we all wish we could take some things back or some play calls or this back, but a group that's going to be hungry because of that, because I think they saw, hey, some of the failures of 24 that we can't allow that to happen as we go forward.
Matt, of course, thank you for your time. Viewers, listeners, thank you as well. Be sure to tune in. We got monthly episodes coming up of this show, and we look forward to seeing you for the next episode.
Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it, and go Eagles.